So let's look at.
Now I'm gonna assign it.
We talked about creating endpoint, and each endpoint we talk about delete. Which other method do we have again?
Get.
We talk about get. We talk about.
We've not done put.
It's
No.
the same logic. It's just the name, method name. Okay, let's say put that we want to update a student, but notwithstanding, when you are making a post request, I want to give you another example here. Where is the project itself?
Oh no, answer SOS.
So how many models do we have there?
2 models.
Does this student have this student? And I said you should create relationship for this student.
Yes, I can.
You did not. You just a cost table. What we identify this who is the owner of this? Okay, this is cost. What about cost registration?
Student registration.
Cost registration, huh?
Cost registration. I didn't get that. I assumed it was costing.
What I said you should do is create a cost where is your database? Create a cost. We have cost let's go by this and say because what we want to is on where?
Under students. And school, sorry, school.
This is cost table. This is a student. So this your cost supposed to have relationship. Is this a cost? So or maybe you have a cost registration. You now have another table. You call it cost reg, right?
Yes.
You now have a ID big and you can make it auto increment. You now have a cost ID big int, right? You now have a student ID big int. You understand the meaning of this? Date created date time. Abi?
Yes.
Do you understand this?
Yes.
Okay, this is the course. This is the student ID. This is it means that I can have as many courses as possible, as many students registered by this student. So what I'm expecting you to do is now you now come here, you create a foreign key. So you now make reference to a student table. I want to first get, so it means that is what data type did you give your
Int, not
what? Let's change this one to integer then. No wonder it's not taking it.
and the first one.
So I've changed it back to integer so that we now come here. You create a foreign key and you give it a name. I want to create a foreign key on student reg so that I'll be able to map that okay this student reg. You understand? That is I'm trying to map that this student ID and mapping it to a student reg table. Do you get it? Which one is student? Which one is student reg? Because I don't really understand.
Student reg is one we are using in the.
Okay, you are not making use of student reg. Okay. Oh, two. So we now have, we are still making it to course table. You understand? Course ID. Do you get what we are doing? All you need to do is say on delete cascade. You are looking at me as if you've not done linking of table.
Yes, sir.
You normally do it using code, but
Yes.
here
Using
is
Workbench.
drag and drop that thing. So I will just do this. You will see what will happen now. The table, I'm trying to generate entity. Now this table, this is a cost table. So this cost is independent of anything. You can have as many costs as what as possible. So what we are trying to do is here we can add cost title, cost code, cost weight. You understand? But you need to register student under a particular course. That is why we now have this cost reg. You understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do you get it? So if you now go back to what we are doing before, as we have this in place, I may decide to say, okay, this guy should go its own way so that I can regenerate the entity, the model if I want. I have to go to why this now? What's happening? Okay. Create entity classes from database. So we are making use of this. So we select a cost table, right?
Yes.
So a cost table has already moved cost reg because this cost reg has relationship with what? And then if there is any other table, you can just move them. So here, we don't need the persistent unit name. You don't need name query on your table. All you need to do is you are making use of a list. So you will now see that we now have a student reg, right? If you check under the student reg, it means that it will have what? Cost reg as a list. It means that a student can have as many, you see, as one student, this one student can have many course registration. That's the meaning of at 1 to is many. That you can see at 1 to what? To many. It means that many students in a course, that is, student can have as many records as possible within course reg table. Do you get it? If you now go to the course reg table, it means that at many to what? 1. It means that many courses can belong to
one student.
Many of course registration can belong to one student. And it means that this course table can appear as many as possible within this. Do you get it? Can you now see that it has what? Cost table directly, course reg. It means that if I get your course reg, I can get the student that has that course and I can get the cost.
table.
Do you get it?
Yes.
What we normally do in programming is what we call, you understand how to add table, what we call mapper. Though we have a generic way of doing it, which I'm going to share across. I will send it to you. But when you look at this table, it's possible that whenever you want to add a course, you understand? You only need the ID of the course, right? You only need the student ID, maybe if you want to, or if does your student have matric number? No. So we can just make use of any student with ID. This, you understand? you are still not getting it. This one that everybody is just looking. There is what we call DTO. DTO means data transfer object. So anytime I want to add student, so I will only pick the selected fields that I need for adding of student. Let's go by this course first. Let's try and do a course table. You know, if I want to add a course table, what I need to send is course title, course code, and course weight. I don't need to send the ID. And of course, you should have the date you register this course. You have to make it as habit that anytime you register, anytime you add a course, you should always have a date. A course should always have what? This. Just select date created. Make it date time. So you don't need I have to delete this one. I don't need this one. So you now have to what? Apply it. So I can go to my table now. I can define the column myself instead of generating it, because you can see the format a column. It means that this is the name of the column. The data type of this column is what? Is date, right?
Yes, sir.
So, but in a date, if you use normal date, if you look at course reg, you will see that our date reg has a timestamp on top. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All you need to do is you move it on top of this one. So let's say, I just want to give you an example. Let's generate a set and get for this. What we are saying in essence is anytime I want to add course, I don't need to, it doesn't have to come with a date created. It doesn't have to come with ID, because that will be auto-generated from the backend, and this date will be coded from the backend. Do you people get it?
I think it's
When you are adding record, there are some info fee that you don't need to send. Anytime you want to withdraw from your bank account, say you just withdraw. You withdraw, let's say using your ATM, you withdraw. Do you used to put the date, this is the date I withdraw?
no.
The system will take the date. That's what I'm saying, that when you are adding record, there is not all the fields in the table you need to send.
Okay.
You understand?
Yes.
That is why you need to create another class or another object that will represent what you need. So when you now get that object, you now map it to the table. Any code that you want to generate, you generate it, any date. So take for example now, that is what we call DTO. If I come here, I can create a DTO for my course table. I can say course, I usually call it request. You understand? I can say data. Do you add a loan book?
Yes, sir.
So let's now say that from this course table, what we need to add a course is just this. You get it? Let's remove this private. It's not necessary. This is what you need to add the course. You understand?
Yes, sir.
So it means that this is what you use as request. Now, if I want to add a course, let's go to, instead of creating a login controller, I can create another controller and call it course what? Controller.
Okay.
So I will make it at a REST controller at request mapping. It means that this one will start with what? Course. Do you get it? I will auto-wire my app service, right? We have app service now, isn't it? You people, you are just looking at me as if I'm doing magic. Didn't you have app service?
No, sir.
You did not have repository.
We have a position, but not app service. I called it service actually.
Okay, where is your repository?
That's service, yeah.
Okay, you just call it a service. But you know, like now, you have this, you have this class, you have this class. So assuming now you now have many class, okay, let's create a cost table. Where is our model? We have a student reg cost table, we have a cost reg, right?
Yes.
Let's create our this in there. I want to give you another example. We have a repo, right? I will say extend JPA repository, right? I think I make my own to be long. I make this class to have a primary key of long. You understand? Now you now have how many class? 3 class. You understand? If you now want to auto-wire it into your controller, it means that you auto-wire individual class separately.
Okay.
You understand? So and if you now, assuming you now have 30 class here, 30 repositories, you now have to auto-wire them separately. So instead of that, we normally put them in another class. I used to call the class app service. So you annotate that class to be at what? Service. Control C. So you now you now auto-wire all those classes under the app service. That's course what? Table repo. I normally make it to have the same name at auto wire. That's course reg.
Thank you.
Student what? So all you need to do is import. But there is something again. Please let me check my system. This guy. There is something again. For you to have setup, because I need to be able to get access to this. So most of the time I normally annotate it with what? Data. So that I can say, okay, get course table.
Okay. Like
Get course reg. Get student reg. So that I will now auto-wire this service into my respective what? Controller. App service. Do you get it? Do you get it?
Yes, yes.
Like now, I can come, where have we worked before? Here now. You inject how many? 3. Meanwhile, I can inject just what? App service.
And you have everything.
Where you define this, let's go there now. This is student repo, abi?
Yeah.
You now say service dot get student what? Repo.
Okay.
You understand?
Because that
Service
service has
does-
already carried all of them.
Yes, student repo. So if you have many repositories, just define them there. And when you say get this, then you now call the name of the method under the repository. You get it?
Yes.
Because if you have many repositories, it's going to be a problem. Doesn't mean that you have to. So just call service. Service dot get student repo, right? Service dot get student reg, right? So that is solve the problem for you. The same thing here. Now I want to create a method that we have add a what? A course. You get it? So I will annotate it at post what? Mapping. I will now say okay, add. So it will now follow that, okay, course.
Okay.
Followed by
Add.
add.
Course/add.
You get it? I can say okay, at API operation, maybe I can put value to be end point for adding new course.
Okay.
If I like, I can put response type and put this. I can put my, well, for now let's leave it. So all you need to do is public response what? Entity. I can say add course.
Okay.
So at request what?
Uh,
Body.
okay.
So what we want to get when we are adding course is this. Do you people understand it? Sukamida,
Let's go.
you need to understand what we are doing here. You need to be here. So you put try and what? Catch here. So now you see this at request course this thing. It means that this is what I want to send to me. Because even though this table have ID, have date created, you don't need to send me the date to create the data. As well now you are implementing it from your own design. This person is implementing. So if you can send wrong date, but it is any date I receive the data, I will put there as API developer. So that is why anything you don't want your user to have access to, you exclude it. And that is what we call data access transfer. DTO, data transfer object. We normally call it DTO. It's just a name. Ordinarily, I supposed to say course reg, course DTO, but I don't really need it. I normally I say request and response. Do you people get it?
Yes.
Now, I can now say, if I want to add a new course, all I have to say, I will say course. What's the name of my table now? Is it course table? Is it course? No. Course table, right? So I will now map what I have here to here. Let me tell you, another advantage is I didn't expose my table directly. In the security aspect of it, I didn't expose my what? Table directly. It means that it's not my table I'm using directly. So you don't directly have access to my table. So what I can say now is a course dot set what? Course code. Where is the course code coming from? It's coming from this object. It's now be payload dot what? Course code. Course dot set title abi. Payload dot what? Get course title. Course dot set what? Weight abi. Payload dot get course weight. Right? I can actually course dot set date created, no date. You see, we are the one setting the date. But anytime you want to list the course, you just say that the date will come with it and ID will come with it. Do you people understand this? Do you get what we're saying? So I can still I may now come here now and put a response. That is what you are going to get is string dot what? Class as response. So if I add the response, I can ask okay, return response entity dot okay, maybe record created successfully. Let's just go by this. Let's say an error occur. We saw a response. For now, just say okay. Internal server error. You understand? Later we have a well formatted error. So if you now go to your API now, have you tried to run it? You are using 2.6 version.
It was one I saw in the video that I used.
It was not what we used in the video. We later change. You will see the look and feel now that there is no net light. So no problem. Let's leave it like that. Later you can change it so that it will change the look and feel. Can you see that we have just one group? As I created another controller, if you now run it, I don't know if that guy has picked. No. Yes, it's coming up. If you now run it, you will see now that cost. No, now as it's going up, let's try and create a get request for what? For getting the list of the cost, right? I can say list cost. So here we say list so that it will have a cost slash what list. So here it will be at get what mapping. I don't need anything to get the cost. I just want to get the list of all the costs for now. Just understand it. So what I'm responding, what am I going to return as response here? List of costs. Well, is it should it be cost table? The class, right? You now have response container.
Okay,
It
that
will
one
be
will
what?
be list.
List. So here I can say list cost what? Table is equal to service dot what? Get cost what? Table dot find all. You can you see now that I'm calling service for everything
Yes.
instead of saying
The name of the
say cost repo
repo.
this. So that will be too much. So I just pass the cost and return it. There are so many things we're supposed to do that we did not do. We're supposed to check whether the result is empty. If it's empty, so that we know cost found. This we're supposed to do all, and we it's not that every time you pull out the cost. At times you may decide to write another logic. So we are coming to that one after the other.
Should we change the
So
API operation?
yes, we can change the API operation. That is just for endpoint for fetching list of courses. So if you look at your listener, this guy has restarted. You notice now that you now have two controller. You have course, you have this. So if you have many applications to do, you can separate them into different controller. So look at this one now. This is cost. This is get cost. So endpoint for fetching this. You understand? It's telling you now that can you see it? Can you see it? You will see. Can you see what it said you are expecting?
Wait.
If you try it out, can you see it's putting this cost reg. Okay, you have cost there already. It's adding this cost. You understand? Cost. So if this cost reg, assuming you now have a list, so it's going to. I don't really need this cost reg in the cost. I just want to see the list of the cost. I don't know if you people get it. Do you understand? Okay, don't worry. Let's just go like that. You understand? This one that Larry is looking as if. So look at this one.
So it brought date as null.
You didn't add it when you are.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it. It's telling you that example. You click it, it will come. But the other one is much better than this. Let me say CPT 111, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say introduction to computer science. So let's say
So
first
it,
what
it
is
might bring error because the virtual I use in the database is not, I think it was 20. So,
say does your table has any validation? If there is no validation, you can go there and change it. This cost table, right? Why did you use cost table? Always use text for this. You understand?
yes.
Use text for it. But as you change it now, you don't need to do anything again than to just try it out. Can you see record created what? That one is much more formatted than this. If I decide to create another one, let's say math 1021. Let's call it elementary maths. I don't know mathematics. If it's correct, you just try it out, right? It's a record. So if you go to the other one now, I don't like this output. It's too. You go to the other one. Can you see it now? Those one that we add now, we have date. No, maybe this is the formal request. Wait, didn't we add them? We added them and I can't see them here. Let's see what we did on the cost controller. Do we really save? We did not save. Can you see it? We just say save successfully. We're supposed to say service dot what? Get cost table. You understand? We save the cost. We didn't save it. Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
We didn't save it. We only return response. So if we go back to one of the requests now, let's try and tie it again. So that has gone, it has added. Let's come in. That must have been added. Can you see now? This one have what? Date. You see this guy? It's not necessary. The reason is we pass the table directly. We are not supposed to pass the table directly. Pass the table directly in the sense that you are returning your table directly. We are returning the list of costs directly. So, and at the same time, we are exposing our table. What we're supposed to do is, we're supposed to create a DTO for this and call it a cost response. So down, this one is what? Response. Do you get it? So we now need to go to cost table and copy out only those fields that we need. Only those fields that are needed, you copy them out. So I can come here. Of course, I don't need all this annotation. This is what we call DTO. I have to teach you this so that you understand that this is the standard way of doing something. You don't just bring out your table directly. I will show you something now. I will give you a class that you can use to convert. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
So what I have to do is, I have to say, okay, this is the list of, whenever I invoke this, where is cost registration? I'm supposed to create a list of response list is equal to new array what? List. This is what I want to return. I want to return what? Response what? List. Right? So it means that I have to iterate through all this. Do you get it? So this is the list of the costs I retrieved from database. But this is the list of what I want to send out. So here, the first thing I need to do is, I need to change this one to the list of what? Cost response. So I have to say, okay, for cost table, I can call it result ls. You understand this from our previous so I have to initialize a cost. New what? That is, for every cost table, I have to create a cost and copy the content of this one, only content I need, and put it into this one. I will now add this one to the what? List. So let's do it. So I will now say rp dot what? Set what? What am I setting? I'm setting course code. I will now say ros dot what? Get course code. rp dot what? Set what? Course title. ros dot what? Get course what? rp dot set what? Course width. ros dot get course width, right? rp dot set date created. ros dot what? Get date created. Do you get it? rp dot set id. ros dot what? Get id. So I've set for each one. If you go to the first record, extract all the data and put it here. So what I will now do is I will now say, okay, that response is dot what? Add what? rp. rp. So for every record, it will carry out this. It will create a new course response, retrieve all the data from this guy, and map it here, return it. The reason is, if you look at this course range has what? Course list. I don't have to return that course list, so I want to do away with this course list. I hope you understand what we're doing now. But we have what we call a generic converter that I've created. I have it in one of my projects. I will give you. You don't need to do all this yourself, but you have to create what you are expecting. So it will automatically map it for you. You just, but you need to understand how the mapping is being done. So if you now look at previously, if you look at what is returning and what this guy said we are expecting, this guy said we are expecting course code. Look at course range. You may not understand it. Look at course range list. It now give me all the list of course range that I don't need at this time. So if I reload this guy now, if I go back to what? Can you see it now? It's telling me that this is what I'm expecting, which is good if, because this is neat that, okay, I'm expecting what? Course code, course title, and this is what it will return. If I try it out now, you will see it now that it doesn't bring any unnecessary array that is not required again. And mostly when you are sending out your data, you're supposed to format your what? Date. This date is not good the way it is now. Let's go to, there is a way to format date. You understand? When you say set date, you can change you can add a annotation to this to do the format for you automatically. Let me see if I still have a little, so that we just check online directly for you. You can do it manually. If you want to do it manually, you use simple date format. I've taught you that before. Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
You use the simple date format, you change this one to string. Let's first do it manually, so you will see how it works. Do you get it? So here, create your simple date format. A simple date format is equal to what? New simple date what? Format. You put your format here. Maybe I want month. So, and if you want the minute and seconds, you said hour, minute, seconds. You import the simple date format. So instead of passing this date directly, a simple date format has a method called what? Format, that require what? Date, and it will return what? String. That was why I made this one to be string. Understand this?
We don't type.
Because I know that what I'm going to get is what is going to be string. So if you now look at this, those format, you can pass a date there. Which date? Where is the date coming from? It means that ROS dot what? Get date created. Do you get it? So if you go back now, if you now invoke this endpoint again, if you go to that, try it. You see now that we have one error now. Can you see? Internal server error.
Oh.
Because some dates are null.
Okay.
So all you need to do is, before you convert, you now say if ROS dot get date created is not null. It is only when it is not equal to null you do the convert. Because when you pass conversion to this date, it's like you are not passing the right date, you are passing null value. So you need to check that it is only those one that doesn't have no, you should convert. Do you get it? If you try it again, you see now. It will not bring the rest. Can you see it? That it come out well.
No way.
You can go ahead and update your this and say A.
AM and PM.
Yes. So if you invoke that endpoint again, you are going to get a response. Can you see it? Do you get what we have just achieved today?
Yes, sir.
It's simple.
We need to go back to it.
Let's add one more endpoint again. You have a cost for adding a single cost, right? Have you thought of if you have many costs you want to add, can't I add multiple costs at a go? So let's create an endpoint again for adding multiple costs. I just copy this and now say add. If I say add, I'll now say bulk. Add bulk cost. Give it a good name. So instead of a single cost here, it's now going to be what? List of costs. Do you people understand it?
Yes.
So it means that here we have list of what? Costs. Cost list is equal to new array list. All these things you need to know them. We are adding single cost, but it's not that we are going to be. So what I have to do is, let me, so that let's remove this. You now say for cost request, I want to iterate through cost request payload, right? Right? For each of them, and I say this one is ROS, this one is RS, this one is RS. So since I get them, I will now say okay, cost list dot what? Add what? Cost. Add it to cost. The other time, what we did here is we get what is coming from database, we map it to, but now list of data is coming from what? Design. I mean from the front end. We want to map it to the list. So that is for each of these costs, extract the cost table, map all the data to cost table, and add the list to the what? Called cost list. So Java gave us flexibility like Spring Boot. I can say service dot get cost table dot what? Save all. It has save all. So it will just save all the costs. It will save every cost we add to this list. I don't know if you get my gist. You don't get it.
Instead of one like this save before, we save all.
Everything at once.
Okay, you will look at it now. Look at it now. We now have how many endpoints? 3 endpoints. Add bulk. Can you see add bulk? See what it's telling you? It's an array of this. So if you click it now, it means I can say, okay, information management. I can say LIT 211. I can say the course unit is what? 2. Can you see now that? I can put comma here. Do you get it?
They add the 2 points once.
Yes. You people should take note of this. So that we are going to be working together any moment from now. I'm telling you all this are necessary. It means that I've added how many courses. So if I want to add another course, it's going to be, I'm still going to copy this one, put comma here.
It must be inside the array.
Yes, because it's a list of the course. We are trying to add the list of that course. I can say biology, let's say introduction to biology. Let's say bio 1211, right? Let's say the course unit is 1. So let's decide to post, right? Try it out, right?
Yes, sir.
Can I see it? Do we get error? What error do we have? Data truncator for course code. When you look at your error, anytime you see MySQL data truncated for what? Course code. It means that the length of character you define for course code is small compared to what you have. So let's go back to our this thing. Course table, course code. You put 10. Do we now have anyone that is greater than 10? Let's check. You can't say no.
Course code, introduction to biology.
You see? It is supposed to be.
Course title inside the course code.
Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
When you see that error again, next time you should know that that is the cause. Don't call me.
Stop.
I'm for it.
Yeah, very.
Flying the China. I'm for it.
Very sharp. We can wear it here.
So we may now decide to what?
Error on
Reload.
To try it. You don't need to reload.
Okay.
Don't remove this job.
Can you see it now? That record to the test response body. Can you see response code is 200? Request header. This
What's been another response code, sir?
is 200. That is, it is okay. It runs successfully. We can give it a custom code, but we are coming to that later.
Okay.
So if you now see, if you get the list of courses now, you will see now that all the courses we added. Can you see it? So it means that we can add multiple courses. Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
Let's stop here. We have so many things we want to do, because I'm still going to show you all those relationships. You will see how we had, which we are coming to that maybe tomorrow. Please send this thing to engineer today.
So on what platform,